Do you love the taste of fresh baked bread? I don't know who doesn't. We're going to show you how to make your own homemade bread at home, of course, with Leda and Alicia. They join us to tell us about bread making and also about a wonderful community, I should say, gathering where people can share stories. Nice to have you both here. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Now, making bread intimidates me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. Should it be intimidating?
No, not at all. It's really quite easy, and I hope if you remember nothing else, about our appearance here, it's just that making bread is really, really quick and really fast, and even yeast-based breads, which a lot of people are afraid of, can be made really fast.
All right, so we're going to make some today. What's the first step in putting this together?
Well, first you want to start just with your liquids, and so we have oil, salt, sugar, vinegar, and some eggs, and this is a little more complicated, and also some milk. And this is a little more complicated than some of the recipes even that are out there that are just really with water, but this is some yeast and some water, and so Alicia's going to put that in a bowl, and then she'll add the other liquids and stir those around, and then we'll add the dry ingredients.
Now, what did you do to get to have the yeast get to this point?
Basically, you just add some warm water, and this is actually, you can buy these in packets, and so it's just one packet of yeast, and you add some warm water to it, and it rises, and then we added about a half a cup of milk to that. And we'll stir it up a little bit, and there's a little bit of vinegar in there. But basically, like our organization, what we do, we're just a community group, but we have people come together about once a month to bake bread. And the idea is that over the baking of bread, we also can share in community. And sometimes we're talking about other environmental movements and food movements in the area and what people are doing. And sometimes we're just telling stories about what bread means to us in different parts of the world. And actually, this Breadhouse movement, which is what we're about, it's bridging resources for ecological and arts-based development. And the idea is just really people all over the world have very deep religious, symbolic, just rituals around bread. And it means something also just within our families. And in general, bread just has really, we all have stories about it.
Well, it's interesting how significant something so simple can be in someone's life. And that really does span cultures, as you were saying. So no matter where you're from, bread is kind of a universal thing. And so you can come together and make it, talk about it. I think that's wonderful that you do that. So now, Alicia, you've been putting all the wet ingredients together and the dry ingredients.
And now we marry them.
You marry them.
And I want to say also that Alicia is a very frequent participant in our Breadhouse, and even though she's not saying much about herself now, she's also a very avid bread maker, and she loves to make bread.
And if I can encourage people to join us at the Breadhouse, Leda and Lily, who unfortunately couldn't be here, are fabulous. They can whip together breads off the top of their heads.
Wow,
they really
that's
are
impressive. Now there's a bread, while you're stirring that, Alicia, there's a bread that you have right here. Tell us what's in this one.
And this was just an example of a quick bread where you can basically throw anything together. And so this was made with some baking soda, and there's flour, and I just had some fruit left over, so I put some bananas in there and some pomegranate, and I also had some peanuts, and I threw all that together and put it in the bread, and it's delicious. And so, add some eggs and some milk, and you've got a bread. So that's an example of a baking soda bread, and this is a yeast bread.
Gosh, you do make it sound so simple. I'll have to try it. So fast forwarding, because we're running out of time, we want to take it from this step, then do we put it right into a loaf pan?
No, what she'll do now, actually she could stick her hands in there right now, and you just basically are going to make a ball with it, and then you're going to knead it. And that's the part where it's actually a lot of fun and kind of therapeutic, because you get your hands in the dough and you're just working with the dough, and you do that for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, you let it rise, and you let while your show is going on, we can let the dough rise, and then you can stick it in the oven. You have a loaf of bread and bake it for about, I don't know, depending on the size, like 20 minutes or so.
At what temperature?
At about 350, and we work with kids too, and we have them make little shapes out of the bread.
That is so sweet. Well, thank you, Leda and Alicia, for joining us and sharing your story, and also for showing us all how to make bread without a bread maker. It's fabulous. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.